All right, this is about a man that lost his manhood for being too nice in prison. All right, that's what this is about. This is about a man who lost his manhood for being too nice in prison. So sit back, enjoy the ride, because I think you're going to really enjoy this one. All right, prison story. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca audio, man. This is about a man that lost his manhood in prison. So sit back, enjoy the ride, because I think you're going to enjoy this. Okay? Check. It's a dude named Billy, all right? Billy, I met Billy, along my travels, out west. He was from somewhere in the Midwest. In the Midwest, they like to rob banks and things like that. So Billy went on a bank robbing spree. Billy robbed 3 banks in one day. You know what I mean? 3 banks in one day. He got away with it. He was a lonely kid in the neighborhood. Nobody really messed with him. And, once he robbed the banks, he started getting money. His gear got better. His jewelry got better. He got a whip. You know what I mean? He doing his thing, right? So now he winds up in prison. And for the 3 bank robberies, they did what they call stack them. They stack them. By the first bank robbery, you're looking at 20 years. The second bank robbery, within a certain amount of time, you're looking at 40 years. And the third one, you're looking at 60 years. So Billy got sentenced to 60 years in federal prison for bank robbery, right, out west. I run into him, over in the West Coast. When I run into Billy, Billy was in there, me, I'm a fly dude. I'm always doing my thing, and, I'm getting the tailor-made suits made in the prison, because they sell like just standard gray sweatsuit, either dark gray or light gray. And I might get, 2 sets of each, color, and I give it to my man Yusef from Philly. Big round of applause to Yusef from Philly with the Yusef wear. You know what I mean? I got to show you some pictures of me in prison with the Yusef wear. Calm down. Calm down. Relax, relax, relax. I got to show y'all what a Yusef wear looked like. But he might make the 3/4 length jacket. Anything you see in a magazine, he could make. And when we got locked up, back in 93, everybody was wearing like 3/4 length jackets. That was the official, meaning you a gangster joint when you wearing that. You know what I mean? Gangster. Let's get that right. So now I'm wearing this joint, right? So I'm up in the joint. I'm the flyer, one of the flyest dudes in the joint. And then here comes Billy. Billy comes in. Billy, people sending him money every day because he still got the money from the 3 bank robberies. So Billy going to the store. Billy playing tickets. Billy going to the store, man, running up debts. You know what I mean? Paying the debts off. He doing everything. You know what I mean? Billy the man, in the prison. But I'm sitting back and I'm watching Billy because I already know that time reveals everyone, So Billy just, every time somebody needed something, they went to Billy. Hey, Billy, you got a soup? You know what a butt naked soup is. I already told you all about that. I got to bring the props for my new people. So, he'll give him a little butt naked soup. It only costs 20 cents. So here go a dude coming over there asking him for a 20-cent soup. It ain't nothing. He got 150 soups in the sale at 20 cents a piece. So he giving out the soups. He'd be like, yo, Billy, you got a pack of Kool-Aid? They sell a box of Kool-Aid for, like $1.40 for 6 in a pack, and you can put each one in an 8-ounce water bottle and get an 8-ounce, water bottle full of Kool-Aid. And, they got popcorn, things like that. They sell on the commissary that they sell in the, they go in the microwave. So every night somebody went to me, yo, Billy, you got a popcorn? Yo, Billy, you got a soup? Yo, Billy, you got a Kool-Aid? Yo, Billy, you got a bag of rice? Yo, Billy, you got a mackerel? And that ain't nothing to Billy because he got plenty of money coming in. He got about maybe 10, 15 grand on his books, and that's a lot. That's what you call penitentiary rich. So Billy penitentiary rich. Let me show you what penitentiary rich look like. Hold up. I got some of my penitentiary currency. This is penitentiary rich, so y'all understand. Each one of these books is worth $5. You know what I mean? You got 100 books, 200 books, you good. You know what I mean? You got 1,000 books, you know what I mean? You all right, so you're doing your thing. So Billy getting money. So every time somebody came, Billy, you got 2 stamps, I can play a ticket. Billy give them 2 stamps. Whatever they want, Billy gives them. Billy gives them everything he wants. Billy's the nicest dude on the compound. And, you know, he a fly dude. He start going to Yusef. He getting his clothes wearing. He looked like he in competition with me, but I'm sitting back and I'm laughing because, you know, when you old gangster, you can see through the bull crap to see who's who. So Billy, you know, he's up there and he's in competition with me, and I'm just sitting back waiting for his demise to see how it's going to play out because I already know how penitentiary rules go. So, you know, from him being so nice and all that, he just kept getting it, kept getting it. You know what I mean? The money orders coming in, coming in. You know what I mean? So the money orders coming in, he's spending it, you know, every night, 10, 15 dudes at his door, he giving away, let's say, you know, 10 soups. That's only $3 a night. But to a dude that don't have nothing, that's $3,000 a night. They're like, oh, this dude paid. So everybody run up on the Billy. Yo, Billy, what ticket you playing today? Yo, Billy, what you doing today? Yo, Billy, what you got on the such and such game? I think it'll be this. And they befriended him with that. And Billy loved the attention because he's not used to getting attention. He only got attention once he started robbing the banks on the street and he started doing what he got to do. But, you know, let me take you for a ride. Let me take you for a unique ride. So now we're going to take it back to the street. Billy was a little quiet dude in his town. Nobody paid him no mind. You know what I mean? You know, other dudes out there, they playing basketball. They good at it. Billy ain't athletic. You know what I mean? Other dudes, you know, they people's buying them clothes because Billy from the suburbs out there in the Midwest. So it's people buying him all the nicest clothes and Billy looking good, but nobody paying him no mind. No matter what he wore, nobody paying him no mind. If somebody else wore it, they'll get 100 compliments for the day. Billy wore it, nobody even seen him. It's like they looked through him. So once Billy decided to rob a bank, he stepped it up. Now he started wearing jewels, you know. So now he the man out there in his town. So, you know, he robbing banks and all that. So he robbing the bank here, he robbing the bank there. He got away with a lot of them except for that one day he slipped up because when he went in the bank, they wound up, you know, had a camera and the camera, you know, caught him, you know, from a good angle. The other joints never really caught him from a good angle. So Billy got away with it. But when he ran up in the bank, at the third bank, when he go up in there, the police is in there and the police is waiting on him because they mapped out where he going and how he gonna rob the banks and things like that. So, you know, they got their little technique to say, okay, he robbed the bank here, he robbed the bank there, he robbed the bank here, so the next bank is gonna be over here. And they wound up picking the next bank. So when they ran up in the joint, Billy had a standoff with him, you know. So Billy had a standoff with him, he's sitting there, he holding hostages and everything. Now, never been in trouble a day in his life. So he got the gun. He not letting nobody leave. The hostage negotiation is out there. They tell him, oh, yo, let him out. What's your name? I'm going to call in. They call in on the phone. They talk to him. He said his name was Billy. He tell them that, you know, he got these hostages. And if they don't back up and let him out, this and that, you know. So they backed up. They let him out. And when they let him out, as soon as he got out and he got in the car, he started driving. They knew it was one way out to town because he out in the Midwest. So they put down those little spike strips and they, you know, Billy go driving and he went up the road that they knew he was going to go down, drove over it, got a flat tire, got caught, wound up in prison. But like I said, when Billy was on prison, he got all his friends for being nice. I mean, when he's on the street, he got all his friends for being nice. You know what I mean? They were just messing with Billy for what Billy had. You know what I mean? Now he goes to prison and he carries on the same behavior because that made him the man on the street. So now he in prison, he giving everybody everything. The whole time he doing that, you got a booty bandit watching him. You know, if you don't know what a booty bandit is, y'all look it up. But he got a booty bandit watching him, and he's like, man, you know, he's thinking to himself, man, this dude's soft. Because every time somebody wants something, the booty bandit, nobody gave him nothing. You know what I mean? Because they didn't respect the fact that he was on boys, you know? So nobody gave him nothing. So whenever he wanted something, he'd go to Billy. Billy gave it to him and always gave it to him. So now he goes in there and he rolls on Billy and Billy giving him everything. But then Billy money runs out. When Billy money run out, the crowd, the entourage that was around him, it dwindled, you know? It left like maybe 10 people around him, because I'm talking about he had 10, 20 people, you know, easy. So now it dwindled down to 5 people, 3 people. There was one dude that generally liked Billy, you know? But the whole time the booty bandit watching this move and see that nobody's messing with old Billy. So The booty bandit, goes in the cell. He asks Billy, yo, you got a soup? He gives him a soup. You know what I mean? He didn't have to give him the spill like he give everybody else. Normally, booty bandit would go on people's cell and he'll be like, cause he's hungry. He'd be like, yo, I'm messed up, man. Ain't nobody send me nothing. I'm hungry as hell. They serve pork tonight. I don't eat the pork. And that soy they serve, the penitentiary soy. If y'all know what the penitentiary soy is, I'm going to explain it to you. They got what they call soy that they say is supposed to be like, the best food to eat. Y'all know about soy. Remember when soy was real big? So, he was eating that soy and, you eat that soy and your nipples start leaking, milk, like if you're pregnant. Imagine a grown man, he's laying down, he wake up in the morning and his t-shirt is wet, big wet spot on his t-shirt, because his nipples started leaking, milk, like if he was pregnant, So nobody really messed with that. I think the soy, they put something in it to make you sterile, so you can't have no kids. That's a form of birth control for, the Federal Bureau of Prison, right? They probably do it in the state too, but I'm talking about in the feds. So Billy go in there and say, man, I ain't trying to eat that soy, man. Man, if you could give me something to eat, all I need is a soup. And dudes feel sorry for him, give it to him. Some dudes tell him, man, get up out of here. You're a booty bandit. We don't mess with booty bandits, because he knew not to even come to my cell. You know what I mean? Because, I was strictly he cipher, monkey cipher phobic, If y'all don't know what that is, somebody put in the comments so they know, because, this is YouTube. So, I'm a he cipher, monkey cipher, phobic. So Billy know not to even come to my cell, and I looked out for everybody just as well, but, at the same time, I kept my gangster face on. In prison, you can't smile too much. You can't sit there looking, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? On the street, you do that because there's women around. But then when you're dealing with them people, that's how that is. So you sit back and you got everybody watching you. So while they watching you, you like, oh, man, what's going on? And, he goes to Billy and Billy gives him everything. So as Billy is giving him everything, he's taking Billy for soft. When Billy is not really soft, Billy's a good dude. That's all that is. He like to make sure that, everybody's happy, because everybody's happy, they smiling and they're around him. But like I said, his money ran out. So this booty bandit rolls up in the cell on Billy. And when he rolls in the cell on Billy, he goes in the cell and he tells Billy, yo, could I get a soup and a pack of Kool-Aid, man? I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. So they give Billy the soup and a pack of Kool-Aid. Billy gets the soup and a pack of Kool-Aid. Gives it to him. So he leaves, he go out, he watching, and he's sitting there thinking, and somebody else going to sell, asking for something, he gives it to him. So here it is, because we fast forwarded. So here it is 2-3 days later, they had something went on, and Billy didn't get to make it to the commissary. He waiting to go Friday, and it was Thursday, So the booty bandit go in the cell and he asked him, yo, Billy, could I get a soup? And Billy's like, nah, that's my last soup. Only got a soup and a mackerel left because, I didn't get to make commissary because my money order came late. Captain said I'm going to be able to go tomorrow. So check me tomorrow and I give you the soup. So dude said, man, yo, but Billy, I'm hungry, man. I ain't eating nothing all day. These dudes don't mess with me. Billy don't even know that he's a booty bandit, why nobody mess with him, because everybody's just around him for what he got. They're not really telling him what's going on in the prison because they just using him. You know what I mean? And let me give you the word use, It's like everybody use somebody for something, you know what I mean? But that don't mean that it's a negative use. Meaning, like we got a pen pal. We meet a pen pal, right? I'm riding, we meet a pen pal. So we got a pen pal, and the pen pal reach out to us in the prison, because they had a little prison website, I think of Friends Behind the Wall, Write a Prisoner, and they even had one called Pampered Prisoner, So now we writing people on there. We put an ad up. They writing us back. We hollering at them. And these are women that usually just broke up with a man and they don't have anybody. They want a little attention. So they start writing the guys in jail. So they write the guys in jail. The dudes is writing them back. And, it's a use thing. Some people say win-win, but I'm going to use the word use because it don't matter what title you put on it. It all fits in the same cipher, meaning see it 360 degrees in the same circle because nothing leaves. So you got the females, they looking for somebody to tell them something to make them look, feel good on the inside. Then you got the guys that's on the inside that just need something put on their commissary accounts. They go to the store. So the females, is, writing them letters because they're lonely, self-esteem might be low, or whatever it is. And some generally care and just want to reach out to an inmate, but by the time they start talking to the inmates and they see what's going on, they start realizing that, this is a cool dude. And the females fall in love. So that's where the use come in. The females is using them to get their attention, and the dudes is using them to get the commissary. But what you call that, what we men call that is, fair exchange is no robbery. I give you your self-esteem boost, you send me a money order. You understand? So that's how that go. So now, we in there, and the booty bandit rolls up in the cell, and being that dude gave him his last thing, he rolls back in the cell, that same night, and he said, yo, Billy, I really appreciate you doing that, man. I was hungry, man. I feel much better. I thought I was going to die. They fed that nasty ass soil. My nipples was leaking, milk, so I had to fall back from it. So I've been real hungry, man. I appreciate you. And the booty bandit reached over and kissed Billy. You know what I mean? On the lips. Not no tongue kissing, nothing, because Billy was not, he cipher, monkey cipher. He just reached over after he told him thank you. He reached over and kissed Billy, So Billy stood there and he looked back, and he never had nothing like this go on with him before. He didn't have no attention on the street and didn't know nobody until he started robbing banks. So Billy didn't know how to react to it, so Billy just pulled back. The booty bandit didn't even wait for a response. He just left. So when he left, he comes back in, and then about 2-3 weeks later, nobody's messing with Billy. So his cellie told him, yo, my man just getting ready to get off the bus, so you're going to have to find another cell, because this is my cell, So Billy don't want no problem. So Billy say, all right. So he leaves to go to another cell, So when he goes to another cell, had nowhere to go, the booty bandit tells him, you can move in here, man, because you remember you gave me your last soup. I appreciate you. And they still never addressed the booty bandit kissing him. So Billy don't know no better. So Billy moves in the cell with the booty bandit. So when he moves in the cell with the booty bandit, they in there, they playing cards all night, casino, tunk, and They reading books to each other out loud and things like that. And while they reading these books, right, Billy was on the top bunk, the booty bandit on the bottom. So while Billy on the top bunk, the booty bandit down there while Billy's reading these books, right? The booty bandit started having reading those. It's a book. I don't know if y'all know about it. I don't like to plug things when I'm not getting paid, but I'm just telling y'all the story. It's a book called Penthouse Letters, where regular people write in, their freak stories and sex stories, to Penthouse, and they print it. It usually be a page, 2-page, maybe a page and a half. And they tell a different experience that happened sexually. And all of us used to love to read them in prison. We ain't got no woman. We ain't got no nothing. So just to be able to read a woman, some dudes used to like to read the joints from anybody, meaning a man or a woman, but I couldn't read the stories from a man. So as soon as I seen that the letter was from Bob Jones, I flipped the page and looked for something that was from Susan Jones. So now I see, Susan Jones. Let me see what old freak Susan into. So Susan telling her little story, and I'm reading it, and I tell my celly step out, put the sign up, and I pull out the letter from old Susan, and I get my pictures of the girls that I want. Sometimes to me, I like to get females that I know, so I can imagine really doing something with them on that type of level. But dudes would go and buy pictures. They sell pictures like this. Man, I hope YouTube don't flag. Let me put my thumb over it or something so that you can see what I'm talking about. But, I like to give you all the joint. Let me put my finger over there. Oh, man, okay. It was like this. So you might have females like this on the bed. And she's not wearing nothing but a thong, so you know what it is. So I'm waving the pictures so that, you two don't act up. But anyway, so, they get them pictures and they lay them out. But, when you're a fly dude like me, you got females that will send you pictures of themselves like that, so you can picture you, running up in them like that. You know what I mean? So, hold on. Let me give the rat bastards and flip-flop wearing and public trolls 3 seconds to tap out before they start putting the comment, oh, you being a pervert. All right, and you already know the deal. take that with you on the way out. You know what I mean? So, that's how that used to work. So while Billy's sitting there, he reading the Penthouse magazine, his man said, yo, man, this story crazy as hell. Here, read this story. So he gives it to Billy. Billy on the top bunk, he hands him the book. Billy reading the story while he up there, he's sitting there, he's, stroking his manhood. So while he's stroking his manhood, Billy's reading the story. Billy up top, so Billy don't know what's going on down bottom, So, Billy got to go to the bathroom. So Billy said, hold up, family. He jumps out the bed to go to the bathroom. When he jump out the bed to go take a piss and he start peeing and he turns around, he see dude butt naked, no covers on him, and he's sitting here stroking his manhood. Billy don't do nothing. Billy said, whoa, excuse me. Could you believe that? He said, excuse me. And he jumps up in the bed. Penitentiary rules dictate that you put the knife, put the Bethel hand in him, as Bunky Pound would say, But instead of, Billy doing that, Billy never experienced nothing like that. So he jumped back in the bed and dude said, go ahead, finish reading the story. Billy, a little nervous and uncomfortable, but crazy ass Billy continues to read the story. You know what I mean? When he done seen that the dude is down there, playing with himself while reading the story, So after he doing that, then the dude turns around and the dude comes back to him and the dude, gets up and he goes to the bathroom and he's butt naked. So while he's naked, he's urinating using the bathroom, but he's not with his back to Billy like, we normally do when we in the cell, so a man don't see your genitals. He's standing at the side, and he got his joint in his hand, and he's stroking it, and he's urinating, and he's talking to Billy and telling Billy, yo, that was a good story, man. That Susan is a mother. Look if you see any more stories from Susan. So Billy scamming through the book because he uncomfortable and nervous and don't know what to do, and this dude did something that we call he soft-pressed him. You know what I mean? He act real nice to him to let him feel comfortable. So Billy couldn't tell him no because he's not used to tell nobody no because he does everything to get people to talk to him. So being dude talking to him butt naked, you know what I mean, stroking his manhood, and he gonna tell him, yo, find another story about Susan, man, look up and thing. So Billy starts skimming through the pages, he finds another story, and dude's standing up there, and dude is urinating, and Billy's reading the story, and as he's reading the story, he starts stroking, you know what I mean? Billy's sitting there, and he's looking and he's uncomfortable, so he's looking at him, he's looking at the book, looking at him, looking at the book, and he's like, so dude see him looking at him, so he think he's looking at him because he's attracted to him, but just don't know how to make a move. But Billy's looking because he couldn't believe he did this. Like, yo, I know he don't have his joint in his hand. This is what Billy's thinking. I know he don't have his joint in his hand, So next thing you know, the police come around, they do the count. So after they do the count, his man jumps out the bed. He goes down, because he was in the covers when the police came by. He jumps out the bed, and he goes down, and check this out, you know what I mean? He jumps out, and he turns the light off, and he quietly and politely gets in the bed with Billy. So Billy pushes him like, yo, what are you doing? And dude says, shut up, you know you want it. And he's like, whoa, you know what I mean? So now, they get locked up for, police came back around because it was a miscount. Miscount meaning, they know they got 120 inmates, they count 119 or 121, so it's a miscount, so they got to do it over. But by then, the police bandit was already in the bed with Billy. So the police come by and the lights is out and he shines the thing and he see the two of them in the bed and Billy's trying to push it off him and Billy's not even punching him or fighting him, is what's going on. So now the police sees it, they said, 302, I think 306, 306, 306, that's like, that's a charge they give you if you, having any kind of sexual act, whether it's with yourself or someone else. If you want to know some stories about the 306, the 306, I think 305. The 305 is, and put in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a minute. But the 305, I never had one of them charged. The 305 is the ones that, that masturbated to women and things like that. They say 305, 305. So that means it's a sexual act. So the police come running down there, they throw the law on, they run in there and they lock them up and they put them in a hole. So then now, about a week later, I'm on the compound and I don't know what went on in the cell yet. This is how I found out what went on in the cell. So I don't know what went on in the compound. So it's a dude that was acting like he was tough. You know what I mean? And, kept gritting at me. So I said, hold up, let me go get my Bethel hand to make sure he ain't on nothing. So I get the Bethel hand and I'm going to the yard, excuse me, I'm going to child hall. And you never take your Bethlehem to the child hall. Everybody know you don't do nothing in the child hall. If you're doing child hall, it's the easiest way to get transferred. So I normally don't have my Bethlehem, but I'm going through the joint and and I take it to the child hall 'cause I didn't like the way this dude was looking at me like, he had an issue with me or something. So I take the Bethlehem, I go up there, I go through the metal detector. It was a floater. A floater is something made out of plastic or aluminum that's not going to ring in the metal detector. So you call it a floater because it floats through the metal detector. Cash App is on the screen. See, I give you all these jewels. I don't care if it's $1, $2, whatever, but at least give me a subscription. Make sure you hit the notification bell, or at least at the very least, give me an emoji and just put Mecca fire. You know what I mean? Put Mecca fire in the emoji, if you ain't got a Cash App. So now, I'm coming out the kitchen and the police get to search me, and there was this Cipher Monkey Cipher, officer that was there. And, he was so crazy. You see the Cipher Monkey Ciphers back then, they had correction officers like that. And, that's when Bill Clinton signed in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So the Don't Ask, Don't Tell is where, in government services, you don't ask their sexual orientation and they won't tell you their sexual, they don't have to tell it to you. You know what I mean? So, because they used to ask if you this, you that, and you had to tell them. So they had the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So they brought a lot of the Cipher Monkey Ciphers in. So while they in there, you had certain them ones of them was there. And I'm going to tell you one, right? And this is funny. I even got to admit, this is funny. Now, it was a dude, because I like to ride. Remember I tell you about ADX? When we went to ADX, we on the step down, we coming out, and they pat you down and get you used to going through, the regular penitentiary, because they pat you down sometimes kind of crazy and you act up. So they got to teach us how, to work our way back in the regular United States penitentiaries from the ADX Supermax after we've been locked down and away from people for so long. So we coming out the thing, and they got about 20 police out there, and you walk by and literally every police give you a pat down. Some just go, pat you on your shoulders down to your waist and tell you to go. Some pat you all the way down to your ankle. You know what I mean? But if there's one dude that'll pat you down and he'll take his hand and he'll put it up in your crotch. You know what I mean? And when he pulls up your crotch so hard, it's like you get a wedgie and you jump like, ooh, and you be like, yo, what the? So now you turn around and tell the police, yo, what's up with this dude? Now they say, okay, so he ain't going to be able to handle USP, So now they give him a shot, you know what I mean? For, insolence, whatever, because he done cussed out, the Cipher Monkey Cipher, CO, because he done put his joint all up in there and touched his genitals as he rightfully should have. But now they know that he's not really ready to go. So it was one time when we was coming out the joint, they took this little dude. It was a little dude from, I think, Mississippi. Good old man, cold gangster. But he was real quiet, didn't bother nobody, had a full beard. He was only about maybe 5'4" and maybe 110 pounds. But he comes out there, and he's an older man, so he used to always wear his pants what y'all call now fitted. That's why I don't like to see y'all with your pants hanging off and, the flip-flops in public and all of that. But his pants was always tight, so the police must have figured that he Cipher, Monkey Cipher, but what it was, he just felt comfortable in the tight pants, a.k.a. fitted pants. So he comes out the joint, and he Cipher, Monkey Cipher, go, and he pats him down, and he goes and he grabs him by his waist and go down to pat him. You know what I mean? And like I said, remember where the Cipher Monkey Cipher that and hit the dude in between the middle of his leg. So when he goes down like that, he grabs the dude from Memphis. You know what I mean? That's what from Memphis. So he grabbed or Mississippi, whatever. I always got those confused when I was locked up, because those are two places I never went. So they grabbed him by his cheeks and they pushed his cheeks together. He was really getting a feel off. You know what I mean? Getting his freak on. So now we see it, and you know me, I'm old clown. So I start laughing. I said, yo, Memphis, he put your cheeks together like they was a set of lips. You know what I mean? Like he was telling your cheeks to pucker up. So Memphis looked back at me and he's so pissed. But see, Memphis was a gangster, like I said. So instead of Memphis getting mad at what I said, he got mad at the rightful culprit, which was the person that put his cheeks together like they was a set of lips. So what Memphis do is, Memphis turn around and he punches him dead in the face. Boom. So Memphis get locked up. Like I said, so that's how the Cipher Monkey Cipher slip in. So now, dude is sitting there. So, because I'm riding. Because I'm riding. So now I come out the mess hall, and dude went to search me down, and I had the joint on a string on my sweatpants, and I had it hanging right over my privates. So when I come out, dude came and he went to touch my privates. So when he went to touch my privates, I backed up. I said, yo, what you doing? And they said, no, no, no. You know, he just doing a strip search. I said, nah, man, I ain't going for none of that. That man going for my privates. And they said, no, we got to strip search you. We got to search you. And I said, nah, I'm not going for that. So they said, okay, well, if you don't let us, you know, give a pet search, we got to give you a strip search. So now I got to gamble with a strip search because I know I got my joint on me and they want to feel up by my privates. So I tell them, nah, man, you know, I take a strip search. So while we go in there, I figured I could get to the, you know, the dry tank is what they call it. They call it the holding tank. I think I get to the holding tank, and when I get to the holding tank, you know what I mean? I could always try and take the joint off the string on my thing and put it down on the side of the cell. You know what I mean? And, you know, hope something is in the cell that I could put over it, or I could just take my shirt off, throw my shirt over it, and then let them come over there because they want to see if I got anything on them. So I go in the cell and I take the joint off me real quick. I put it on the floor. I take my sweatshirt. I throw it over to, you know, Bethlehem. And the police come in. They patch search. I mean, they tell me to strip search. He stand at the door. So I take everything off because I had a T-shirt on still. So I take off my T-shirt. Take out, yeah, this is how they degrade you in prison. So if you youngins want to go to prison and go through this, you go ahead. So he sat there, and I took my T-shirt off, took my pants off, and then I had to take my boxes off. Now the man looking at me in my birthday suit. Then he told me to turn around, bend over, and cough. But, you know, I said, nah, hold on. I'm not doing no bend over and cough. You can see what I got now. So what do you mean talking about bend over and cough? And he's like, I said, I'm giving you a direct order. So when they say they give you a direct order, that means if you don't do it, they're going to give you a shot. So I said, nah, I'm going to take the shot. You know what I mean? So he said, all right, and he walks out. But I'd rather take the shot for refusing a direct order because that's like a 300 series. You know what I mean? Refusing an order. Because I got the Bethlehem on the ground. That's a 100 series shot that was going to take 28 days good time, even though I had life plus 20 with no chance of parole. But that's an automatic 30 to 60 days in a hole, depending if you're first or second. And I already got caught with 4 knives behind the clock in Lewisburg. And so this is my second knife shot. So I couldn't stand that because that was 60 days in the shoe. And they trying to be out there on the compound doing what he got to do. So, you know, he leaves and he come back, he brings me a shot. So when he brings me the shot, you know, I get the shot. So he said, all right, somebody coming to take it to the shoe. I said, to the shoe for a 300 series? He said, yeah, because you wouldn't let them search you out there. So that's 1 refusing an order. Then you came back here and you wouldn't bend over and cough. That's 2 refusing an order. So if you get 2 of the same shots at one time or within 30 days, you automatically got to go to shoe and you automatically got to see the DHO. I said, all right, well, whatever. So now when they go and they come, I pick up my sweatshirt with the Bethlehem in it and I grab it in my hand. I got my shirt hanging. So they tell me, turn around and cuff them. So I'm holding the sweatshirt. So I turn around and I put my hand, you gotta put your hands behind you with the backs of your hand together. That's so they know you can't swing. So they don't let you put it to the front because you can just turn around and boop, you know, do what you gotta do. So I'm holding the joint. So they cuff me and they take me to the shoe and I got the Bethlehem with me in the shoe. I'm in the shoe and I'm next door to this booty bandit. You know what I mean? And being that they got me next door to the booty bandit, you know, it was something that was trying to, you know, I don't know what they was trying to do. But I'm talking to the booty bandit in the event, and I hear him talking to everybody. And I said, yo, why you do that to homie? Homie looks out for you. He gives everybody everything. That man don't bother nobody, and you know he not a he cipher, monkey cipher. He said, yo, that dude is a biatch. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, yeah. I said, why you say that? He said, man, every time anybody come to him, he giving them everything. The nigga too nice. Anybody too nice is a sucker. And this was his mentality. So he said, anybody too nice is a sucker. You know, he said, and then, you know, I got him in there reading me Penthouse magazine by Susan such and such. And, you know, he'd jump out the bed to use the bathroom. He see me down there butt naked, no covers on me, my birthday suit. I'm stroking my joint. He don't say nothing. Then I jump down, go to the bathroom. And when I go to the bathroom, he's sitting there and, you know, I face him, got my joint looking right at him, both my eyes and my third lower eye, you know what I mean? And this dude is reading a story to me while I'm stroking my joint using the bathroom. You can't tell me he's not a he cipher, monkey cipher. I said, nah, he might just have been nervous. He said, well, if he was that nervous, he needed to give it up. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, because needless to say, I didn't want to get into it for YouTube purposes, but, you know, dude had already, you know, awed him in the cell. You understand what I'm saying? And the police came and caught him while he was trying to push him off him or whatever. I guess after dude done released himself, felt a little weak. He went to push him off and police shines a light on him. So now he said, yeah, he did all that, so I know he's soft. You know, so this is what the dude is telling me. You know, I said, so what was the reason for you thinking that he was he cipher, monkey cipher, when no one else even picked that up? You know what I mean? And he said, nah, to be honest, he ain't no he cipher, monkey cipher, because he squirmed all the time. And, you know, I released myself so quick. I know that he wasn't. He said, I said, what? I said, oh, all right, I'm done. So I get off the vent. I don't want to hear no more of this crap. You know what I mean? So the next day we go to the rec. So when we go to rec, he talking to another He Cypher, Monkey Cypher, and they already told him he leaving. So now he telling the other He Cypher, Monkey Cypher, Booty Bandit with him, said, yo, dude that I came in here with, I'm telling you that dude sweet to do this, to do that. So, you know what I mean? You can get him. So now everybody is targeting this nice dude. You understand what I'm saying? Now, mind you, it all started from him being on the street wanting attention. So he go rob a couple of banks, buy some jewelry, buy some clothes. He start looking out for everybody in the town. And now he got a lot of friends. He go to the prison, he picks up the same thing and he do the same thing. Could you believe that? Now he winds up in prison. He do it, but in prison it's a whole different ballgame because people take your kindness for weakness. He was being too kind, so they took it for weakness. I'm talking fast. I want to speed this up because I want y'all to get to the point. And y'all can slow it down if the words are coming out of my mouth a little bit too fast. You know what I mean? So he telling that to the other booty bandits, and they on the gate, and the whole time we listening, us straight men is listening, and we like, yo, I can't believe this stuff. Like, we never even phantom nothing like this was going on. And dude talking all loud, talking about, yeah, I grabbed him, and when I went to choke him out, he acted like he pushing me off, but I know he wanted it, and da-da-da-da. And it's the way a man is talking about another man. But bottom line is, Billy lost his manhood for being too nice. Cop the book of Row in Harlem. Like the video, subscribe, and do what you got to do, because it is what it is. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
What?
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. They be horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.